Alright, so today I am making up a whole new Monday board in my main workspace. I may move it around later, don't know yet, where it is going to be capturing data and information and even documents and files from my clients in order to give them a product, which in this case is a content repurposing pack. So what they've got to give me is the content to be repurposed and a bit of information about their brand, and then what I will give them back is that content repurposed into other bits of content, just to give you that context. But what we're doing today is a whole new Monday board. You can see it is underneath my other boards in my main No Grey Suits workspace. This is a completely blank board. I've only just created it. There's not even any items or groups or anything in here. So I'm actually going to start with creating a form. So I'm going to hit the little plus button up there in the add view or in the tabs. I like calling them tabs. It just makes sense to me in my brain. And I'm going to go form. My internet has been a little bit slow today, so if you do see it going a little slow, that is why. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe a little bit too much gaming happening in the other room. So I'm going to add my logo in just because it is a nice thing to have. So I'm going to go into my OneDrive because I do know there's a copy of my logo in here. None of my files are super organized. That's just me. You'll find that out as we go along. It is nice just to add those little tiny design things to your forms, especially if you are going to be embedding them on your website like I am. I'm going to be embedding it on my Squarespace site. Now, why aren't I just using a Squarespace form for this? Because I like the fact that with Monday, I can embed the form in and everything comes directly back into here, and I can set up any of my automations from there. I can set up emails to myself, notifications, and I've also got everything for every type of client saved in one particular spot. So I love using it like this. So already it has filled in the very basics that it comes up with on its own: name, person, status, date. None of that is what I want in a customer facing form. One great thing you can do now that you didn't used to be able to do with forms is extract design style from your website, if you see over here on the right hand side. So you can actually put your website in. So I'm going to go .com.au, hit go. Oh, I couldn't find it. Maybe we do need the HTTPS. Now can it find it? Okay, it found some logos for me. Found some photos of me as well. Color theme? Nope. We've already got our logo, so why are we doing that? All right, it really wants me to add a logo again, so I'm going to add the logo again. I don't know what's going on there. I must have clicked something wrong. There we go. No, it really doesn't want to let me do a color theme. So all right, no, still not letting me do that. So I'll have a look at that again in a minute and see if it's just something that I've clicked wrong while I've been doing this. So we do not want person because that will be me, because I am a solo operator, so it will always be assigned to me. When it says person in Monday, it just means who it's assigned to. It doesn't mean customer name. It doesn't mean the person that you are dealing with. Person is always who the task or item or whatever it is assigned to. I don't want the customer to see that. I don't need the customer to see that. I don't need them to fill that in. Okay, so I am deleting person because it is always me. Okay, status. They don't need to know the status either, so I am taking that out of here. I am not deleting the column on the board. I still need the column on the board. I just don't want it in the form anymore, so I am deleting status from the form, but not the board. There we go. We also don't need date in here. We don't want to delete the column on the board, but we do want to delete the column, well, not the column, the field from the form. So now I have a really basic form sitting there. I'm going to go back over to my main table, and that's where it was pulling all of those from. So I'm going to add a couple of columns here, which are also going to show up as forms in my form. So everything is nicely connected. That's one thing I really like about Monday. What you do over here does reflect back over here. So I am going to... I want a text form, a text field, and I want that to be your name or customer name. Then I want another text one, and I want business name. I'm actually going to call that first name because I find a lot of people put their full names in and it makes it really hard to do email automations later. How much does it suck when you get an email and it says, "Hi, Anastasia Genevieve, da 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 da." So I always just ask for first name. I very rarely need their surname. So I tend to only ask for first name in most cases there. Okay, then because I want to use this as a multi-purpose form, I want to use it for capturing a couple of different types of things. One thing I want to do here, I've already got status, I've already got person, that's going to automatically assign. Item is going to be, you'll see what I do with the item name in a second. What are we going to do? We are going to, I want them to be able to upload some files for me. So this is where, I'm just going to call it files in here, but when we go over to our form, back over to our form, we can start to add in the board columns. So you'll see those ones that I put in there already there. Okay, so we've already got a name there. So I wonder whether I do actually need first name. Where was name over here? Oh, that's interesting. I'm going to have a look at that. What's that? Answer will be written here, but where does it go? No pre-fill value or anything? Interesting. That might actually go in as the item name, which could be kind of cool, but I am going to call it first name instead. Or, you know what, I'm just going to get rid of it. Because I like that I've got first name, then business name, and I'm going to do something special with the item name there. So you'll find the way that I train you on this is by me doing and finding these little bits as we go, because you're going to come across them as well. So look, I have a horrible memory, which means I forget from week to week. If I haven't done a form in Monday for a few weeks, there's going to be little bits and pieces that I've already forgotten to know about. So it's actually really handy watching me come across these things seemingly for the first time. It's not the first time I've come across them, but just haven't done it in a while. So I'm coming across these things just like you would. Now I'm going to get a little bit clever with the files thing, because people tend to think that you can only drop in one file at a time. That is not true. Customers, when they do come across this form, can drop multiple files into this column, which is really, really handy. Even though it says files, people still make that assumption that it's only one file at a time, because that's what a lot of forms allow. So with this one, I'm going to put the content you want repurposed. So this could be, where's my, hey, add a description. There we go. This could be a video of a podcast or webinar, photos or B-roll/overlay that you think may be useful. Or what else could it be? It could be, if it's a text only, yeah, okay. Document with text content, blog, copy. Okay. You can upload more than one file here. That will do for now. That'll do for now. Okay, files there. So the content you want repurposed. There we go. But then I'm also going to put another file one in, because people tend to, it works better for their brain if I keep this one separate, and I know that. There we go. Your logo and branding assets. Clean logo file, high res, transparent background if you have. more than one file here. So just reminding them again, you can upload more than one file here. Because for some reason, people's brains just go, I can only upload one thing at a time. All right, so we've got first name, business name. There we go. We should probably put their email address in somewhere. Hey, there we go. Email address. There we go. We're actually going to move that up. So I'm going to come over here and just move that up to there. Okay, so we have our first name, our business name, our email address, the content they want repurposed, logo and branding assets, and then we're going to put another one in. We are going to put a long text in. And this is where let me know what you're after. So I try and keep it somewhat conversational as we go, just because with this particular service, I'm not meeting with the clients. So I want them to still have that feel of, yep, this is what I have to do, not questioning and sitting there going, oh, I really don't know what's going on right now. So I want the tech to be doing the heavy lifting for me in the communication space at the moment, because with this particular service, it is a low-cost service, which means they don't get, an hour or half an hour with me one-on-one to talk through all of this stuff. So I want the customer to feel comfortable, and by making these questions easy to understand with a fair bit of description in there, that helps me do that. So let me know what you're after. If you already have any ideas for how this content could be repurposed, or know of a sound bite or section that went really, really well for you and resonated with your audience at the time, let me know. If there's thing you want avoided, also let me know. For instance, a service or offer you mention in a recording that's no longer available. So it kind of lets them know that they really do need to sort of let me know those things. Otherwise, it's free for all. Whatever they put in here, I repurpose. That's it. Okay, so there we go. That is my basic form. I'll probably make some changes to it. The beauty of using Monday Forms is any changes I make in here later, even if it is already embedded on the website, will flow across. So if I find out later that, people are having trouble with some of the terminology I've used, or I find that I do want some extra information from them, something like that, it'll automatically update over on my website. And I don't have to actually go over to the website, over to Squarespace, and change it over there. I can just change it either in the table or in the form, and all of those changes will flow across. Again, one of those beauties of Monday. The thank you page will automatically come up there. I'm going to just edit the thank you page a little bit. Design. Whoop. There's a question out of sync. One of your titles. No, I don't want to sync the titles, because the titles on the form I made really long so that it was that conversational style. But I don't necessarily want that whole sentence title to be on my table. You might, I don't, so I'm going to turn off syncing. That doesn't mean that those didn't come across here. It just means that the titles that I have in the table over here are different to the titles that I have in the form, because the form is conversational. The table is data for me, internal only. All right, so we're over here. So this is what it looks like for the clients. So the content you want repurposed, your logo and branding assets, and then a piece of text and a submit button. Let's have a play with this color theme again. There we go. Color theme came up this time. There might have been a bit of a glitch, or I might have already clicked on something. I don't know. There we go. I changed the little submit button just to my color. It just makes it nice. It just doesn't add an extra color over to my website that I really don't need. All right, we don't need a progress bar on this one because it is a fairly short form. Over in form settings. There goes my internet again. No. Are we going to get some settings? Are we going to get some settings? There we go. We're going to get some settings. So allow them to save and share for later completion. Nah, it's a really short one, so I don't need that. No, we don't need to change the limit, the number of responses. I do want reCAPTCHA on. I know everybody hates it, but at the same time, as a business owner, it's really painful for me if the bots start attacking. So view and download, responses can be changed. Redirect. I do want to redirect, but I haven't set up the landing pages yet, so I'm not going to turn that on now. I will turn it on later. So just be aware that you don't have to send them to the generic Monday thank you page or leave them on that page. You can actually send them to a page that shows them what's next or what to expect, or, you know, keep an eye out on your inbox for this, whatever it might be. Or you might have them going through a funnel. So you can do that in the settings in here. So you can redirect them to any URL you want. Allow creating via form. No, that's if you want to use the form internally as well as externally. So you might have a form that is really, really simple. And when you're in the main table, when you hit new item, you might actually want the form to come up on your screen as opposed to just entering it in on the line. I don't need that on this. This is a front-facing form, so not applicable. The group for answers. Now, I've only got one group in there at the moment, so that's not applicable because I haven't set that up just yet. But once it is set up, I'm going to have groups for new, in progress, and then completed. So let's just do that quickly now. So new, I always have new as a light green for some reason. It just makes sense in my brain. Everybody's brain is different. In progress. And then dark green is completed. I know I use green twice. It's just, it's how my brain works. Yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing. So when they come in, I'm going to have them coming into new. It's already worked that out for me. And that's where we had sync questions and column titles across before. I didn't want that on because of how I'm using this particular one. Now, if I want to go share form, I have a few options here. I can either share the URL, I can share it with a shorter URL, I can put a password on it, I can require a login to Monday. So this might be if I have, you know, boards set up where my clients or my guests can actually come in and have a look at their stuff, which we might do later. Or I can, where are we? General settings. Why am I having a moment now? Why am I having a moment? I thought it was in shared. Again, this is where you are finding things out as I find things out. Oh, there we go, embed. It's just in the drop down there. I thought it was down here. Maybe it's moved since I last used it, or maybe I have just forgotten stuff because I forget stuff. So again, you're finding things out as I do. Hit your little drop down and you can go embed. You've also got send via email, QR code, all really, really clever stuff. So if you just want a QR code straight into it, you've got it there. You don't have to go and find a website to do a QR code for you, all of that jazz. I'm going to hit embed. I'm going to copy the code. I'm going to paste the code just into a note for myself. No, I'm not, because my internet's deciding it doesn't want to work too well today. And then I would put that straight into my website. So because my internet is having a little bit of a moment, I'm going to stop this video here. So I'm going to make a part 2, but that's how to make a basic form in Monday for your clients to fill out that you can put onto your website or onto a landing page and then have all of their information automatically coming straight back in here for you. Once you have set all of that up, you can start to set up some automations if you're using automations to notify you, to automatically assign you as the person. Then you can start to even set things up like sending an email once it's received, or I don't know, adding it to calendar. There's so many great things you can do once you've got the information in here. But this particular video was just about getting that information in here. Once the information's in here, we're going to start exploring all of those other options of what's next. So my next step will be adding this into my website, embedding it in and building a landing page over on Squarespace. You don't need to see that right now because this is a Monday tutorial, but if you are interested in those next steps, there will be a part 2 of this project. And then for part 3, we're actually going to come back and we're going to refine possibly some of the questions or refine how it looks, but at least we've got the basics up and running. And then we'll be doing that work on what next or what to automate next, whether we send emails, whether we, send the content into my Google Drive or whatever it might be. So we'll work on that afterwards, but first step is just getting the basics of it up and running so that we can do all of that other fun stuff later. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. If you've got any questions, let me know. Other than that, have fun. Have a bit of a play. It's good fun. See you.